Hey Hodies, welcome back to my channel and Happy New Year! Thank you so much for clicking on this video. This is a good video to kind of start on if you are new. My channel is really about loving my makeup collection as it currently is and, being critical of new makeup releases, and I intend on continuing that in 2023. But I think it's important for us to reflect a little bit on what I was doing last year and what my intentions are moving into this year, which I don't know that I have everything fully fleshed out, but I have an idea of where I want things to go. So if that kind of content sounds good to you, I would love to have you subscribe. Make sure you like this video so it gets into the eyes of other people. And I'm also on patreon.com/homemesstom if you'd like to support me there. No pressure. I'm just so happy that you're here. I drank a little too much last night. I just don't drink a lot anymore. So anytime I do drink a substantial amount, I'm like, first, I want to wrap up my budget series. I didn't feel because I don't know that the budgeting series is going to look the same this year, so I didn't want to start the year with a new budget series because we'll talk about that in a second. But I would like to tell you where we landed, so let's do that. I did buy a couple of things this month. What I was doing was actually trying some things that I feel I missed throughout the year that I wanted to circle back to. So I made another Phytosurgeons purchase. I did buy 3 things from Phytosurgeons, but one of them I am using as skincare, and skincare wasn't part of my budget. So I went back and bought another Skin Spark. I bought the shade Condensate, which is this beautiful, it's a really beautiful shade. I don't know that, I think a lot of people recommended this to me whenever I was looking for my perfect blush shade, and it's really close. It's just a very deep version of Mimi with a little bit more coolness to it. It's, it's a very, very pretty shade of blush, and I have been enjoying it, and I just really like this formula, so I'm excited to have this and continue using it. And I also wanted to try one of their eyeshadows, so I bought Fractal Freesia, which is this beautiful kind of glitter shade. And I know I have glasses on, but it is the shimmer that is on my lid today. And it's a very beautiful shimmer. You might have seen it in one of my shorts that I did where I was talking about my favorite sparkly things. I haven't had the best luck with longevity on this, but I also really didn't try that hard. I never used a primer, so I'm still testing it, but I do like it. I like the idea of just having this to tap onto any eye look if I just feel something's incomplete. This will probably get pulled out and get used much like whenever I use the Fenty Diamond Balm. Kind of the same scenario as that. It's giving me very much the similar vibes as that kind of tool. I really like Phytosurgeons. I mean, I don't like the highlighters, but they're really doing stuff that's very cool in makeup. And I also did buy Verdant Force Field, but I'm using that as a moisturizer. I'm not actually using it as a primer. If I was using it as a primer, then I would consider it part of my beauty budget, but it's where my skincare is in the bathroom, so it's not something I consider to be a makeup purchase. The last thing I bought, this one, it was funny because if you're a patron of mine, you saw that I did a poll and I said, should I try this Chanel Water Fresh tint or should I try one of the Byredo Quins? And what's very funny is where I landed was not either of those things. I bought this. This is the Chantecaille Sunbeam Cheek and Eye Shade in Ray, and it was from their summer collection. It's still available on, I think, their website and a bunch of the retailers that stock Chantecaille, so it is still around. And I really trash talked this in a Critical Sass, whenever they were sneak peeking at right around the time it was released. And then a lot of people I watch and I know bought it, and they were all you'll really like this. And it seemed to work for a lot more people than I thought, because they kind of advertised it as a bronzer. It says cheek and eye, but the way they were displaying it was as a bronzer, but honestly, to me, it's a glowy blush. I've used it only a couple of times, but it's really gorgeous. And I have thrown it on the eyes. It's very pretty. So far, I am enjoying this. And those were the last 3 things I bought. Let me pull out my spreadsheet so I can tell you where we landed. I had been in the red the last couple of months if you have been following my beauty budget. So I started this month with $99.69 in my beauty budget. The Phytosurgeons Condensate and the Fractal Freesia were both $15.44 American when I bought them, because Phytosurgeons is a Canadian brand, so there's a conversion thing that happens when you shop through them, so that's what they cost at that time. And then the Chantecaille Sunbeam Cheek, this is $85. I did not pay that much. I had a gift card, so with the gift card I spent $62.74, and that brings my grand remainder to $6.07. I did not end up going in the red for the rest of the year, which I'm very happy about. Now let's reflect on the budget just over the course of the year. I really liked doing it, actually. I really liked knowing that, putting a cap on it. Like $100 was like just enough to explore things, but not feel like I was like overdoing it. And there was one month where I got a couple of gift cards and like really got a bunch of stuff. And I remember feeling very overwhelmed that month, that I was like trying so many things and like feeling like I needed to like really pay attention to them. And that's because the way that I like wear makeup and how much I wear makeup and the way that I review makeup and the way that I talk about it on camera is not conducive to like what other beauty YouTubers are doing. And that's not to say what they're doing is wrong. I often am using my makeup just very differently than other people, and that's perfectly fine, and I'm okay with that. Bringing in 1 or 2 products versus like 10 to 20 or like full ranges, especially like obviously I'm paying for all of this out of pocket. So I think that's also important to keep in mind. Like that's my $100. Like I don't get much PR. I don't. So it would be different if like brands were sending me things. I don't think I'd feel like as overwhelmed. There was just something about like buying purposefully, making the choice to bring in a lot more items that one month where I had like a lot of gift cards to use. It didn't feel good to me. It really didn't. I think I said something about it in the reflection of the month that happened, and I believe it was like September, something like that. It was like I bought a bunch of stuff on sale, and like I bought them, and I thought that like the quantity was going to like bring me joy, was going to make me happy, make me feel some kind of way, bring joy to the face and the space. And I don't know, I when I think about that, I really didn't like it. So I'm now kind of programmed to be more reasonable about the makeup that I'm purchasing and bringing into my collection. Let's talk about my collection. I'm doing some very smooth transitions here. Let's talk about what I want to do this year and budgeting. And actually don't think I'm going to do a beauty budget the way that I was doing it before for my personal makeup. And here's what I mean by that. The nature of how I'm approaching makeup is changing because of what I do and the opportunities that are being like afforded to me because of what I'm doing, because I'm gaining a small following. There are like brands that want to work with influencers the size of me, etc. What I noticed whenever I was going through the declutter video, I don't know if this came across, but like I really tried to narrow down to my collection to stuff that I just really want to use all the time and that brought me joy. And I think I'm really good at that in some categories. I don't feel like I have an abundance of face primers. I don't feel like I have an abundance of foundations. I only have 1 concealer now. So like everything kind of got really narrowed down. And the only thing that I felt like I still feel is too excessive and like I feel like I don't get to enough is my eyeshadow collection, because I not only have palettes but I also have a lot of single eyeshadows. I know I mentioned like a single eyeshadow video, which is still coming. I am waiting for Adept's big magnetic palettes to come back in stock on their website to purchase them, because I have a vision, and the magnetic palettes I have right now, I just don't think the way I want things to work are going to work in those. So that's why I'm kind of holding out until that, and then I can like feel like I'll be able to make it happen a little bit more. Like I have a couple of projects. They're not going to be like stuff that I feel like they're going to be videos about until like the end of the year. But if you recall in my Messmas series, the first time I did Messmas in 2021, I did this using all your makeup project. I'm gonna try to do that with my eyeshadows. So every time I use a palette, I'm going to like put it somewhere else and then just have to use a palette that I haven't used and like work my looks around that. And that way I get to touch everything and use everything and see what I really like and see what I miss and see what I want to reach for. The way I feel about eyeshadow right now is like I'm not very excited about eyeshadow. It's not something that I really want to explore. It's something that I feel like I've hit maximum capacity for. And I know that a lot of people on the internet that love makeup, eyeshadow is their bread and butter. But I just know for me that like complexion, foundation, primers, blushes, bronzers, all of that, like the rest of the face is actually what I'm much more interested in. And like I obviously think that eyeshadows are really pretty, and I sometimes see an eyeshadow palette and I'm like, wow, I would love to play with that. Like I would love for that to be the thing. But if you think about the size of my collection, I'm going to be able to do whatever I want with the eyeshadows that I already have. I just think that I'm gonna do an eyeshadow no buy this year. I'm not gonna buy any eyeshadows for myself. Let's move into the next, this segues us into the next conversation. It's like, what am I doing with my budget? How am I going to bring makeup in? What is that going to look like? So like I said, I'm very happy with my makeup collection right now, but I do want to continue growing my channel. And so what I'm going to do is, instead of using the $100 a month for me and what I want to try and what's most exciting to me, I'm going to pass the buck over to you. So when I see you guys talking in the comments, when we do critical sass or whenever we're talking about new releases, or if you just like are in a comment section and want to say like, hey, this is about to be released, I'd be very interested in hearing your review. And if there's a lot of people who agree with that person, if I'm hearing that a lot, or if I'm seeing a lot of buzz from my audience in general, because I follow a lot of you on Instagram too, like if I see a lot of buzz and people are very interested and like you want me to review it, then I will use the budget towards review exclusively. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not going to buy anything from the makeup world personally. When I'm reviewing the makeup, it's not with the intention, like whenever I'm using that budget, whenever you guys are, I'm not reviewing that makeup with the intention of keeping it forever in my collection. If you want me to review an eyeshadow palette, I absolutely will, but it's probably not going to be something that I'm going to keep around. So I will either pass it on to a friend, you know, donate it, do whatever I feel is fit with that when I'm done with it. But that's the only time I'm probably going to use it. And I think that makes the most sense. And I'm going to try to do like a quicker turnaround when it comes to these reviews, just so they're not sitting in my makeup collection in my drawer with no purpose when I know the intention of it is not to keep it. Which also brings me to another kind of thought is like, I don't know that like I'm gonna be decluttering like I used to, or like I don't know that the big year-end declutter is going to be for me, because if I use an eyeshadow palette, like let's say you want me to review an eyeshadow palette this month, there's something new that comes out and you guys are like, really want me to talk about it. If I'm bringing that in and then I wait until December to declutter it, that like makes no sense to me. And I know some people do like declutters throughout the year, but like I really don't want to like have enough to warrant a declutter video multiple times a year. So like if I am using my makeup throughout the year and all of a sudden I start hating something, so let's say I pull out the Chantecaille powder and I start using it again and again, and then I'm just like, I don't like this anymore, and I realize that in real time, then I'm going to like declutter it in real time. I did in my budgeting videos, if I was decluttering things, I would like put that at the end of the budget videos because it was like a check-in monthly. I don't know if this would like warrant a collection check-in every month or something like that, but I think that's what I want to do. Something where it's just like a little bit more fluid and a little less like I'm always holding, like, you know, I'm always just like waiting to show you to declutter. It's also kind of the same. It's like the same thing. I don't do empties videos because it's like when I use up a product or a skincare item, why would I save my trash to show it to you? And I understand why people like empty videos, because you're seeing people talk about a product that they've used all the way up. It's completely empty. You're trusting that that person like liked that thing and got enough experience with that thing to be able to describe to you how it is, instead of someone who maybe uses a foundation on camera one time with you and says, that's my review. I get it, because it's really hard to navigate some creators in here and like what they're doing, like if they do a lot of first impressions but all like never really follow up. I understand that like empties is like, it benefits you more than some of like the first impressions videos. It's not that like I don't want to talk about eyeshadows or review eyeshadows. It's just that it just doesn't make sense for me to like bring them in personally. Kind of like if you are familiar with Hannah's channel, there's gonna be like two budgets, but like now I'm making my $100 budget public to you. It's a little flexible. So if there's like two things and like one's $60 and one's $50, I'm willing to get that so I can review those two things for you. Let's say like Pat McGrath releases a Mothership palette this year that you are all very interested in hearing how I feel about, then I could buy the Mothership because the Mothership is more than $100. So I'm being flexible with that budget, but like once we like are around $100, like that's where the cutoff would be that month. I feel like I'm probably going to track that with you, but it wouldn't be like the same as my budget check-ins. It wouldn't be like we're in the red. Hope that makes sense. So I'm just trying to structure it so that like I'm not just bringing makeup in for myself anymore, because again, I'm very happy with my makeup collection. What I'm going to do is allow myself the grace and space that if there's something that really sings to me that like most of you aren't interested in, or if it's an older release, like sometimes I really like to explore. I just got this and this was a summer release. I don't know, I bought a lot of things this year with my beauty budget that weren't like brand new releases. Like I bought Mimi, I bought Inner Glow, so like not everything I was bringing in was necessarily new, and that's okay. I'm totally fine doing that and like bringing those things into my collection and talking about them on camera. I would love to review things that aren't brand new too. So even if you are in the comment section and want me to review something old and a bunch of people are like, yes, I would like to really hear your opinion on that, can you please do that, you know? So it's like just like gonna be a little more fluid. However, if I do get it out of hand, like if I get to a point where like I start bringing a lot of makeup personally into my makeup collection, like stuff that I am buying to be mine instead of like being for review, then we will have to reinstate maybe like a no buy situation. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think by exploring new makeup that you guys want to hear about is gonna satiate that any kind of need I feel like I have to buy. Like I said, like I was overwhelmed sometimes with how much makeup I bought in, because I was like excited to buy makeup, and then it was like, it was too much. I think we're gonna be okay. So it's kind of one of those things that we are like all following the career of. Like, will it happen? And I don't think it will. Now there's a budget for you. So if there is anything that's coming out or is released or is about to be released that you would like for me to talk about, let me know in the comments down below. So when we think about the kind of content that I'm going to make, if I do review an eye product, we'll do an eye for an eye. We'll do it versus my makeup collection. If there's an eyeshadow palette that I'm really lusting over, and I'll just, you know, dupe it on my channel, and then I will use my little dupe palette for some videos. So a lot of that content. More becoming videos will be coming out. I think those are going to be maybe a little bit different, but like I also want to kind of do some research-based videos, which is a little bit daunting, and they would be more like commentary videos, but they'll be related to makeup. So it'll be, you'll see when they're coming, but they're just going to be a lot more work oriented, where it's going to be like I'm doing research and like trying to get sources, and I think I want to do some things even in those videos and in those concepts where I try to like reach out to whoever I think would add value to bringing into the conversations I'd like to have and would like for us to think about. I do have like plans for some like bigger content, some content that is very aligned with what I'm doing, but just like it goes a little bit harder and like is a more like conceptual. So it's not really about the makeup. It's like reflecting on like this, like why we are spending money on makeup and like why we always feel like the need to buy the newness. Because I think even a lot of us who have had in the past that moment where we were like buying a lot, or like we still struggle with that, I think those conversations are like important to continue. But how do I continue to make them exciting? How do we talk about them going forward? So I also have some minimal sasses planned where it's more like not research, but like a discussion, like us having a conversation about the topic that I'm thinking of, like things like that. So there's a lot of similar content coming down the pipeline and a lot of like stuff that is new coming. It's not going to feel like too broad of a stretch. I don't think that you're going to feel like I have lost my way, because it's like we'll be reviewing some new stuff that you are interested in hearing about. I will be continuing doing videos where I'm like, I've had this thing. Like also I just hit while I was getting ready for this video. Just want you to know, like I hit pan. I'm excited about that. So I'm hoping to, you know, ultimately see more usage out of my collection throughout this year. So those are all the things that I'm like very much looking forward to. So I already kind of mentioned that I want to do an eyeshadow no buy. Right now, I do think I want to look for another foundation. So I always keep my foundation to 4. Like I only want to really ever have 4. And right now I only have 3. And I don't technically need to fill that, but like I might be exploring foundations with my personal budget like that. Or if there's like a new foundation release that you guys are interested in hearing about, I am interested in finding another foundation. But like I really just, I am going to like commit to no new eyeshadows from my budget. I think I've touched on everything. I think those were all the things I wanted to share with you. Be on the lookout. Let me know what you guys are interested in hearing my take on, my reviews on, so that we can start getting those reviews going for the new year. And just be on the lookout. I have some content planned for this month. We're just ready to chill. We're going to ease ourselves into the new year. We're not going to go hard, which is good by me. So if you aren't subscribed already and you want to join me on this journey this year, I would love to have you subscribe. It's free. It's right there. Make sure you like this video before you leave it. And again, I'm on Patreon if you'd like to support me there. But again, no pressure too. First video of the year recorded. A little bit hungover, but it's fine. We did it. That's why I'm wearing glasses. And remember to follow your heart, and you will find me. I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye. For real.